Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Booktube Chicks Book Club meeting for June. Tonight, we are going to be talking about Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which Desiree is holding up right over there. As usual, I am joined by Desiree and Kathleen, who are both going to be introducing themselves in just a minute. But if you've never been to one of our live shows before, the way that it's going to work is we're going to do a synopsis and spoiler free first thoughts for about the next 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're going to go straight into spoilers. So Desiree, would you be able to do the synopsis and then start your introduction?
Oh man. Um so there's this girl. You know what? This is like so similar to the other one in like where there's this
Yeah.
girl, she don't know who her dad is and she comes from like a wealthy family and her grandmother comes out of nowhere and is like, "I'll give you a college fund of like $500,000 if you come live with us for however long." And so she decides to do that, and the whole family is a hot mess. Is what is really going on. But anyway, hi, my name is Desiree. I'm from Libri Labra, and you can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Do you want to go with how you felt about the book?
Uh so I liked it. I think it took me a little bit longer to get into. I was listening to the audiobook as I was reading along, and not that the narrator did a bad job in any way, shape, or form, but I was just not used to the accent, so I had to get a little bit used to that to kind of follow along a little bit better. Um, and I'm just kind of struck by the similarities, and so I'm wondering if the author is pulling from her real life in any way, shape, or form. Like, I wonder if she doesn't know who her dad is, that she's kind of revisiting this story. Um, and like I said, it was just very, very high drama. There's a lot going on, and there's these wealthy people from the south, I guess, with their southern accents. Kind of like a lot of old money and maybe some new money in there happening in the story. But by the end, I feel like I really enjoyed it, and I would read the next one in the series.
What
Do you
did
want
you?
my rating? I give it a 4.
Hi, I'm Kathleen, for the love of books, and I didn't enjoy this book as much as I enjoyed the Inheritance Games. I feel like the Inheritance Games had more going on, and also had the whole puzzle aspect that the whole story was almost based off of. I did like this book. I just wasn't that wholly impressed with it. I also did listen to the book. I listened to the more than I actually was physically reading it, because I mostly listened to my commute on my commute, and so I don't know if that maybe affected how I felt about the book. I actually enjoyed the narrator. I like that she put on a southern accent for the narrator because they're all from the south. I actually like that. So I don't think it was the narrator so much as I don't think I just connected with the story so much. So I did end up giving this book 3 stars. I think it was entertaining and enjoyable. I just couldn't, I don't know what it was. I just couldn't immerse myself in that story as much. But I did like it. I did like her main character. I think it was just enjoyable. And yes, there are similarities between this one and the Inheritance Games, which there maybe has something to do with our author, because she wrote both very similar books in which we have these girls who don't know who their father is, and all of a sudden this relative comes out of nowhere and offers them a lot of money. So yeah, there is that similarity happening in this book. So maybe, who knows, the author, maybe that would be really cool if she actually experienced this. But yes, so I did give it 3 stars. It was enjoyable. I just didn't connect with it like I did with the Inheritance Games.
And my name is Chloe. You all are on my channel. And my thoughts kind of align a lot more with Kat's, where, you know, I enjoyed aspects of the book, but a lot of it was very middle of the road for me. Um, and I do miss that puzzle aspect from the inheritance games. I think that's something that really had me enjoying the inheritance games a lot more, because I'm not somebody who reads mystery very often. So when I find one that I like, it's because of a certain aspect. And this one had a slight mystery element to it, but it didn't have the really puzzling aspects that the inheritance games has. Granted, the inheritance games came after this series, but um, overall, it just, it was a 3-star read for me, very middle of the road. I don't think I will be continuing on with the series, just because I feel like there are so many other books that I would enjoy more, that I'd like to put my time towards. Um, but yeah, overall, just a 3-star for me. And on that note, I suppose we can go into spoilers with wherever anybody wants to start.
So it's been a while since I've read the Inheritance game, and I know that there was some like puzzle aspect to it and they were trying to decipher things, but overall it felt like you could kind of swap out the word puzzle for mystery, and I still felt there was a lot of mystery here, because you have first that she didn't know who her dad was, right? And then it was like, who was her dad? They were trying to figure it out. They were trying to get like all these pieces of like DNA pieces from people to find out her paternity, to find out like who her father was. And then there was a bunch of stuff going on with those 3 girls, with Greer, her mom, and Anna. And then like
So I think I don't know what that, Chloe, but for me, yes, there are mysteries in both of them, but the inheritance games literally had puzzles, like literal puzzles in the game that you had to figure it out. And it's not like what you're talking about is like mystery.
right,
And
yeah.
but the inheritance games literally had puzzles and built into the book, into the story, that I personally really, really enjoyed. And not to say that it all didn't have mystery, it also had the mysteries that the puzzles were tied to. So I think that that's what's missing from this book. And maybe it's my fault because it is Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I went into this book because I love the inheritance game so much. And I feel like if maybe I had read this book before I read the inheritance games, I might have enjoyed it more. But because I had the inheritance games already in my head, I was expecting something similar. Um, but so it could be just the fact that I had read the inheritance games first and enjoyed it a lot more. But yeah.
Well, I know Chloe said that she's not going to continue with the series. Are you still sticking by that, Kat?
No, I think I will read the next book. I think I have already the second book. So yeah, I think I will read the other book. But I think what I'm gonna do is wait a little. Obviously, with my reading slump, that's not an issue. I'm gonna wait a little and then reread this first book. And instead of listening to it, I'm gonna sit down and actually physically read it, because I do think that not immersing myself fully in the book also affected the fact that I didn't enjoy the book as much as I thought I was going to.
I mean, I definitely think that this book, like people who normally enjoy mystery, I think will enjoy this book. Um, but I do agree with what Kat is saying about coming off of the hype of the inheritance games, especially because it did have its book talk hype run. I think if it had been the opposite, probably there would have been not an expectation.
Chloe, do you think the fact that this didn't really have a romance thread in it, whereas the other one did, do you think that impacts how you felt about it a little bit?
Not necessarily, because I actually didn't like the romance that was in the inheritance games.
No,
And
I think that affected me because I loved the romance in the inheritance game. Well, not loved, but there was one love, because it was a love triangle from what I remember, and there was one love interest that I really, really liked in the inheritance. So I wish I was kind of hoping for something similar in this one, but no, it didn't happen. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I don't want to spend like the majority of this discussion kind of comparing it to her other book. So I just feel like there was a lot going on here, and there was a lot of characters, and I definitely had some trouble keeping those characters all in my head. Like, I know there was multiple families, and if you asked me to name like everyone in the families, I don't think I'd be able to do it.
Yeah, yeah, and for me, I think my issue is that I also didn't write down. Usually, when I start seeing that there's multiple characters, and that they all are influencing the story, I start writing down them. But because again, I was mostly listening to the story, I couldn't do that. The only I will say right now, I don't remember most of the characters. I remember Lillian, and that was the grandmother, right? So that's pretty much it.
I do kind of feel like this would make a really good movie adaptation, though. Um, because there were just, or even like a TV show, to be honest, because there was just like so many threads in so many areas. Um, I'm sad to report that like I kind of identified with the character a little bit in regards to this wild goose chase that she was on, trying to find out who her dad was, and then like her mom lying about it. And that's just like, I don't know.
The fact that her mom at one point even like confirmed like it, she was like, "Is this him?" And she was like, "Yes." And in the end, it turns out it was not. And I was like, "Really? That's so
Like,
mean."
I know.
She spent the last 9 months trying to figure it out, and she thought she figured it out, and then you just like crushed her by lying to her.
Especially because they were on the road to like fixing their relationship too.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, just tell her.
Did it ever become clear like why her mom lied about that?
Because it was like a pregnancy pact, and the uncle that was actually her dad, something along the line, she said that it was only one time, and that he didn't want a scandal. He wasn't the type to be involved in scandals. I think she was mostly trying to protect him. So that's what I got. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I understood.
So the one thing that confused me was that it sounded like her mother and her aunt had a falling out, right? Because her aunt disappeared for a while and then came back, and then they were never the same after that. So I assumed that the reason for that was because her sister found out what had happened, but then the rest of the book made it sound like Olivia didn't know.
About what? The pregnancy pact?
No, just the pregnancy itself. That's who the dad was. Like, she didn't know her husband was the father.
Real father. Sorry.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think any do they all know what the real father is?
Okay, so the grandmother knows. The
right.
mother obviously knows.
Right,
but the father knows. Else? Sawyer knows.
Does anyone else know?
I think that's it.
Yeah. It's
But like it made so much sense that the setup of Olivia disappearing would be because she found out that like her boyfriend or whatever had slept with her sister, and she was like really, really upset about it. And then she came back and they stopped talking. So like why that whole setup to then say, oh, she's not even aware, she doesn't even know?
That's a good point. Honestly, I don't know.
Any ideas, Chloe? Like, do you see it? Unless they're going to reveal later on that her sister does know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of reveals came within those last like 50 to 100 pages. But with there being a sequel, I definitely think there's more to this story.
Obviously.
Especially with where it ended.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the whole pregnancy pact was really weird.
The same. I was like,
can you imagine? Hey, let's all get pregnant at the same time.
Yeah, but wasn't that like a real story though? Like I think was it in Florida? A bunch of high school girls made a pregnancy pact. They even made a Lifetime movie out of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there was. I don't know if it was in Florida or some other, but it was a real story about a couple of girls in high school, and they made a pact to all get pregnant at the same time. They even made a movie, a little Lifetime movie about it.
Okay, but like, Why?
That's not where. It's definitely not where I expected the story to go.
Yeah,
all,
this
like,
was
at all.
Yeah.
yeah, this was weird. All of a sudden I'm hearing pregnancy packet. I was like, wait a second. That was just, and it was thrown in at the very end, and I was like, wait.
But like, I feel like I could understand three best friends being like, we're so awesome, we should all be moms at the same time. Like, I feel like I could understand that. But the fact that Greer like accidentally got pregnant and didn't want to be the only scandal, so she convinced both of her friends to also get pregnant, and her friends agreed to it. Like, what the fuck? I can't. Like, hello, you're bringing children into this world, and her mother decided that the best father would be her sister's husband.
Well, they weren't married at the time, right?
Okay. But they must have. I'm pretty sure they were dating.
I feel
because
like
they were together, because even the grandmother said I should have kicked him out. She was like, I should have kicked him out after that happened, but I didn't. She kept quiet, and then she wanted them to raise. See, this is, I don't understand how Olivia doesn't know. It doesn't make sense that Olivia doesn't know.
I think maybe Olivia might know.
But even at the no, I won't say that, because I read the first 2 chapters of the next book, so.
Well, listen, this is too deep of a scandal for marriage counseling.
Okay, by the way, I looked it up. It was in a small Massachusetts town in 2008. 18 girls made the headlines where a pregnancy. 18 girls. They made the headlines where their pregnancy pact to like became a viral sensation, whatever it was. Yeah, but yeah, 18 girls in a Massachusetts town.
How do you have, first of all, enough friends to make
right
18-person pregnancy pact?
Right. I think in high school I had a total of like 4 friends that I talked to that I would consider making a pregnancy, but not 18 people. No.
Guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, we're never doing a pregnancy pact. Ever.
No, thank you.
I tried with my best friend, but she got there before I did.
Yeah, but that's okay.
We weren't teenagers. We were
you were adults, right?
Yeah,
adults making adult
we were like,
decisions.
Let's be pregnant at the same time. And then she was like, she gave me a call, and she was just like, so you're gonna have to hurry up with that because I'm pregnant. And I was like, come on.
Was this with when you were Jeff, or it's already with John?
No, it was with John.
Okay. It's fine.
And it was her second kid, so. But okay, so like that's a whole crazy banana nut sandwich. And then you have like everything with Nick's brother and the car accident, and like it does not compute that Sterling Ames was driving the car and pulled his drunk son out of the back seat,
and he made everything go away. Yeah, and he made everything go away.
Oh my God.
But that's, are you surprised?
They're rich people.
They're rich people. They literally, that's their model. When their kid messes up, they're gonna go there and sweep it and clean up the crime scene and make sure that the cops don't say anything,
Yeah, but it's one thing to clean up your kid's mess, but he was putting his kid in the mess. There's a difference there to me. I don't know.
The fact that it was so multi-layered too, between like the father and the daughter, and the son had no idea.
Yeah. He, like, this poor kid is going through life as a depressed, like, self-soothing alcoholic or whatever, because he thinks that he committed a crime he didn't even commit. And then I assume that's why he broke up with Lily, because he was like, I'm a terrible person. I can't be with her. I mean, that's an assumption.
Yeah.
So
I would think so, yeah.
And then this other chick is out here pretending to be pregnant.
I like how
I didn't get that part. Why was she pretending to be pregnant?
I don't get it either, but I love how at the end when they like walk into the bathroom,
she's
and
like,
her belly is crooked, and she's still trying to go with it.
But the fact that like Sawyer's mom was like, well, isn't this ironic when you didn't want to be pregnant the first time? It sounded like what was happening there was that Greer actually believed that Sterling was Sawyer's dad, and maybe she was jealous of Sawyer's mom, and so that's why she was like, oh, well, I'm pregnant. I don't know. That didn't really make sense to me.
I feel like this is the kind of book where we should have taken notes, like outlined every single character and then created some kind of family tree for us to understand, and then just like make
her
notes.
uncle is her dad.
Listen.
Okay, listen. There's somebody that I used to work with that straight up, it was like this weird story that she had. I don't think it was like as deep as like her uncle was her dad and stuff like that, but she would call it sister cousins, and that's what this is.
Sister cousin.
It's like instead of sister wives, it's sister cousin.
I was kind of upset that it turned out it was a different guy, because when she told that other girl, I don't know anybody's name, that other girl that they might be sisters, the other girl was so happy about it. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. At least, you know, she's happy, you know, that her dad might have cheated, but she's happy
that she might have a sister.
But, and I thought that was sweet, and then it turns out it's not. I was like, oh, that girl's gonna be very upset.
Okay, but like, who are the three girls on this cover?
I think they're just the
is it? Yeah, but is it like
I have a different
Sawyer?
Cover, so
I know Sawyer, Lily, Sadie Grace. Was that her name? I think so. Right?
I don't know.
That's the girl that hugged her. Nobody remembers the names.
I think at least one of them, or it could be the mothers, maybe like
that's what I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was the three mothers or if it was, but I don't think like because they're holding a scissor, a wrench, and some handcuffs. So
it might be the girls.
No good, so I think it's the girls. Yeah,
it's the girls. And also, first off, at the end, they were like, who's the arresting officer? And then nobody stepped out. I was like, who was the arresting officer? I have no idea. And then they got off because they couldn't find the arresting officer.
I don't even remember that. I literally just read that.
Yeah, her grandmother went there. They're like, you better let my children out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, we need to talk to the arresting officers. And then they all started like, you know, like the Spider-Man meme where they all point at each other. And then nobody knows who the arresting officer is. And then so literally she's like, well, you need to let my children, like, they literally got off because they couldn't find the arresting officer to find out why they were arrested to begin with. So I was just like, I was so confused by that whole scene.
So wait, did Sterling get two people pregnant?
Yes, right?
So he got Greer pregnant and Anna.
And Anna, yeah, correct. Who we all thought was not Anna. We all thought was the mom.
And so Sterling was married. I'm so confused. Because Greer is Campbell's and Walker's stepmom, right?
Yes.
So then who's the mom? Charlotte? Was Charlotte the mom?
This is why we needed a family tree. Is there a family tree? Let me look it up.
Oh my god, I wish I could tell you guys what I read in the next 2 chapters. And I don't usually read those teasers, but I was like, you know what? I have a little bit of time. I'm going to read these 2 chapters right now. And so they gave like just enough information to make me want to read the
They're
next
like,
one.
this will keep them coming back.
I mean, I'm definitely intrigued to find out what the deal with Anna was. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like she's dead. And I mean, maybe she's not, but I feel like there's something so much more insidious happening. Like, I was really waiting to maybe find out that like Sawyer was actually Anna's daughter, and Ellie like didn't want Anna to face consequences for what happened, and so she was like, oh, I'll say that I got pregnant and I'll take care of the baby. I don't know. It was just so messy that I was expecting more mess, I guess.
Yeah, nobody created a family tree for this.
I might have to make one in my iPad.
Please share. When you make one.
Maybe if you reread it, we can reread it together.
Yeah. Yeah, before I read the second one, I definitely have to read it, and I'm going to have to write down all the characters, because if I'm going to go into the second book, I need to know who's who.
But what? So, okay, so like Sawyer's mom was just what? Just different and didn't want to conform, and like I still don't get the way they painted her mom was really weird too. Because they started it off with making her seem like she doesn't care about her daughter because she's, you know, out chasing some man and she's been gone for a while, right? So she seemed like an absentee mom. And then they like try to make it seem like she cares. But then you find out she had a baby with her sister's husband. Like,
I think her mom was to be honest, when I started listening to this book, I thought the mom wasn't part of the family. I thought that the grandmother came and got Sawyer because of who the dad was. And I was like, this whole time was like, Sawyer trying to find out who the dad is. I was like, why don't you just ask your grandmother? I mean, there's no reason you're part of the family because of that. But then I found out that the mom is part of the family. And it's because she's been ostracized, that she's no, but yeah, I don't get it either. They made her out to seem like this outcast, and I don't know why she was outcasted.
I'm so sorry, guys. I have to step away. I have to use the restroom. I will be back as soon as possible.
Okay.
I don't know what to talk about with this book. It's so everything. It's mostly just so messed up.
I feel like this was a book that this was a book that we definitely needed to like. I needed to actually sit down and take notes on, because there's just too many. Just the type of book that there's just too many characters, and there's a lot. They're all interconnected in some way.
And now we're tasked.
It's not like the other books. Yeah, it's not like they're side characters that just, you know, show up for a scene to keep the story moving and then go away. But they're all like. Ugh.
I will say though, I'm excited for her new book because it's inheritance games. So
yes, yeah. Which one?
The Brothers Hawthorne.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I want to know if it's going to be just a standalone or if it's going to be a series on its own.
Is there like
what's the deal with that?
Is she gonna write? That's a good question. I was thinking like it's a fourth book in the series, but if it's, I would love it if it's like a brand new series.
Well, I think it's set after the events of the inheritance game, so it's kind of like a fourth in a series, but we're following I can't remember who it is we're following. I'm trying to here we go. Oh, it's following Grayson. But like, is it a series? And the Barnes and Noble edition is so pretty.
I need to reread that too because I think I read the first 2 books, but I don't remember what happens in the second book.
Let's see. Brothers Hawthorne. Well, Goodreads has it as the Inheritance Games number 4.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay.
Now what do we talk about?
I feel like Desiree is more invested in the story. Like I said,
Desiree is so good at facilitating the conversation.
Have you read the entire Inheritance Games, the 3 books?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the 3rd book without spoiling? Does everything get resolved? Do you remember?
I'm trying to remember because it's been a bit.
What did you rate
since I read it? Probably a 4. Let me look. I think I like read it like right around release time, so now I can't remember. Let's see. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. I'm pretty sure it does wrap up everything for the most part. So how is you?
I'm good. I'm tired.
I did have a moment where I didn't think I was going to finish the book on time. But
why?
Because we had gotten back from BookNet Fest and I was like, oh shit, I need to read this.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a lot of chapters, but they were all such short chapters, so it was nice because it made it seem like I was getting through the book a lot faster.
Yes. Yeah, I woke up this morning and had like 10 chapters left, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I was also at a point where I was like, I just want to be done reading this because it's so middle of the road for me. I'm like, yes, I want to know what happened, but I'm ready to be done with it. I'm ready to read something different.
I'm kind of excited for Light Lark next month. Just because that book was so hyped and I still haven't read it.
Yeah, I want to know what the deal is. Plus, I'm always just happy to read something off of my physical.
And that's like I follow that author. She seems really, really sweet and really, really nice. But most of her TikToks are about how it's a New York Times bestseller and she's making a movie out of it. And I'm just like, okay, children, I'm in the previous 10 TikToks you've made.
You're like, you got anything else? I think they released the cover of the second one.
Yeah, they did. And they made like a big deal, like a big press release for it. And it was really cool.
It's a pretty cover. I don't know. I hope I like it. But because, I mean, I don't know. You know me and books like this. So
I'm hoping I like Fourth Wing because that book stressed me out so much just to get it.
Yeah,
and it has
part of me was.
It has such good reviews, and it makes me nervous over the fact that it has such great reviews for so many ratings, and it has an average rating of like 4.69. That makes me nervous.
Part of me is like, I should buy it just to get in the hype with it, and then I'm like, Chloe, no. Like, I have it on hold from the library, and I know it's on Scribd, so we'll see.
Okay, sorry. Where did you leave off?
We were not talking about.
We're very bad at getting the conversation going.
Oh boy.
It's mostly because I feel like I have nothing to talk about this book over besides the fact that everything about it was confusing and unanswered because we have to read the next book. But that's how it was with the Inheritance game. Like the first book left so many unanswered questions and it was frustrating.
So things that I'm thinking about is that there is clearly a history between Grandfather Ames, I don't know what his name is, Grandfather Ames and Grandma Lillian. Like, they have something going on there.
It confused me to no end when she would call her Lillian. Like, instead of grandma, like, let's call her grandma so that in my head I know you're talking to grandma. Because when you're talking to Lily, it makes me feel like you're talking to one of your cousins or whatever. But anyways, I think the grandfather was named William. Isn't it William Ames?
There was a dog named William Faulkner, so I don't know if they also had a William. I don't think so. I think it was like, I don't know if it was David or... I don't know. What did we think of Campbell?
She's crazy to be able to like.
She's the one who created the blog, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, she's the one who put the blog together. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That was Lily.
No, that was Kim.
Who's Lily?
No,
I'm pretty. So
it was Lily because Lily was heartbroken about Walker
Lily
breaking up with her.
No, it was. I'm pretty sure it was Campbell and Lily sent in like those secrets.
No,
to
it was
put
the
on
other way
blog.
around. It was the other way around.
Are you sure? Because I'm
Almost
pretty sure
positive.
I remember.
Almost positive.
I remember listening that Campbell was the one who created the blog. Okay,
no, because she was trying to blackmail Lily with it. She took the iPad with all the pictures and stuff in the beginning, and that's what she was going to try to blackmail Lily for, because when Lily broke up with Walker, when Walker broke up with her, she was so heartbroken. That's why she created the blog with the secrets.
Okay.
And then people started sending things in, and that's when someone sent something in that said, like, he made me hurt you, and I was the driver. So, like, yeah, Lily had gotten those things.
Okay.
And then, like, Sadie Grace was just kind of like, I don't want to call her
these names. They're so Southern. Like, they're the typical, like, not just Southern, like rich Southern. Like Campbell. Like, what is he a soup? Like Campbell soup. Like,
that's the only reason why I remembered the name.
Sadie Grace. Like, what kind of, like, that's like, I don't know why.
I got tired of hearing it.
So fitting.
I got tired of hearing Sadie Grace. I was like, Sadie Grace.
Sadie Grace and Sawyer, and to me they were all like such typical rich Southern names.
It's like John's name, because John's mom calls him John Michael. John Michael. It's funny. So much. So okay, but like, am I the only one that cares about Anna?
I don't even know who she is, besides the fact that she's the one who was the one that not Sawyer, but her, whatever. But why? Why are you so invested in Anna?
Because she's not around. Because, like, she was pregnant. You don't know what happened to the baby. You don't know what happened to her.
The fact that they dropped this at the very end is probably what lead up to the second book. So yeah, I think you're gonna have to read the second book if you care so much about Anna.
But like, she has to be more important.
Was she mentioned at all during the book?
Yeah.
Like, what was she?
She was one of the 3 friends. She was part of the pregnancy pact.
Okay.
I mean, like, I want to know what happened to her because she's not around, and like, is she dead, and all of these various things. But like, I don't care enough to want to read the next book.
Okay, did you read it with your eyes, or did you only listen to the audiobook?
I only listened to the audiobook because I would not.
I don't know, man. I feel like this makes a difference in people's lives.
The fact that I was this late to actually starting the book, I would not have finished it on time if I hadn't listened to the audiobook.
I mean, you know, like there's just certain things that I don't want to listen to an audiobook for. Like, for example, I would try to really avoid listening to a straight fantasy in audio, or listen to fantasy in audio straight without having
No,
to like book, because
I agree. I can't do it. If I'm listening straight, like just listening to it, I can't do a fantasy because there's too many words
right,
that
that's
I
what I'm
need
saying.
to
That's just
physically see. And so I always stick to like contemporaries or like books like this where there's normal names, normal words in the dictionary for me to actually understand what's happening.
But like, I don't know. Did we get enough in regards to how Walker felt after finding out what his dad did? Like, I feel like they didn't say much about that. I just know that Granddaddy Ames tried to like help him out and force him to do some kind of plea deal, but he was still going to jail.
Yeah, I just I agree. I feel like it was kind of dumped on us, and yeah, I'm probably gonna have to read the next book too, because now I'm curious. You're making me curious.
Also, how messed up is it that not just rich people but also politicians are always up in arms about what other people are doing, but then they're doing shit like this? Like, really? You know, like they're probably going to be the first ones. I mean, drunk driving is bad. Drunk driving is definitely bad. But, you know, they're going to be out there pointing fingers and making all these laws for everybody else. And this dude over here, like literally dragging his drunk son from the backseat and putting him in the front. And like,
oh wait, but he was the one driving, right?
The father was, yeah. The father was the one driving.
Usually rich people are all about, you know, blaming someone else other than, you know, their own kids. But the fact that he dragged his own kid to the front. Were they the only two in the car? Who else was in the car?
It was the three of them. It was the dad and the two kids. And the two kids were drunk in the back. So it was Walker and Campbell. But she saw what he did.
And then he did that just to save himself. Like,
also, not only was he married and he had sex with an was she underage? I think she was, right? She was like 17 or something.
I think it was. Yeah, I think they
yeah.
were, like...
So he had sex with an underage girl, and now he has a mistress. So maybe that's why Greer is pretending to be pregnant, because she found out about the mistress and she's trying to get him to care. I don't know.
Yeah, but if she's pregnant, if her lie is so long that she's already started to show, she needs to do something. She needs to pop out a baby at some point. Like, what is she gonna do? Pretend to have a miscarriage down the road?
Oh, like, my God! For like, it was kind of crazy because at some point Sawyer did say, "This is so weird. I'm expecting her to find a baby on the black market."
Exactly. I'm like, your lie is so down the road already that you literally have to wear a baby bump in order to, like, listen, you don't lie about things. Like, you don't lie when you have to produce the evidence eventually.
This was such a soap opera, I feel like.
There's just
so many family secrets. And like, hello, can I have a grandmother that's going to offer me $500,000 for something? Right.
I'll go to all the debutante halls you want me to. I'll play nice. I'll, you know.
And then, like, even though they were Southern and, like, you know, there were certain things Sawyer said that her grandmother was like, don't say that. Don't use those words. You know, just the way, like, the grandmother would say things without saying things was funny to me.
It was towards the end, speaking of the grandmother, towards the end when Sawyer, I don't remember what Sawyer said exactly, but she was like, the grandmother was like, oh, you know, I'll still honor the contract if you want to get out now. And she was like, something along the lines of "Who am I to break the contracts" or something like that. Basically telling the grandmother that she wants to continue
Right.
talking to her, being in her life, and I thought that was sweet. Despite everything, despite the fact that she kept secrets from her.
I mean, obviously we have like 2 more books to go here, but I feel like there has to be more explanation for the mom, because the mom makes no
Absolutely.
sense to me. Like, I feel like she had to have done something. God. I feel like maybe she's covering for somebody. Like,
Covering.
what if it was actually Anna who slept with the uncle?
It could
And
be
then
because
maybe her dad really is Sterling.
it could be because everything about this book just like, especially the ending, just blew my mind. I was like, all of a sudden there's a pregnancy pie. All of a sudden who she thought was the dad was not the dad. It was, and then the guy that she thought was her dad, she got someone else pregnant. It was all dumped at the very last minute. And I'm just like, okay. And I feel like that's just the lead up to the next book, and we're gonna get more explanation. And then there's gonna be other things dumped on us on the last pages of that book, and then we gotta read the third book.
Have you already?
Is there a third book?
Yeah. It's a
Two.
trilogy.
What?
I'm almost positive it's a trilogy.
I don't remember. Let me look up my Goodreads.
Did you guys read the last book in the Inheritance games?
Chloe did. I haven't yet. I'm actually gonna reread the whole because I don't remember what happens in the second book.
2 books.
It's only 2 books?
Everything's going to come to a close in that second book.
Where did I read that it was a trilogy?
Yeah, there's the second book's called Deadly Little Scandals.
The cover of the second book gives me very much like Pretty Little Liars vibes, because they're all in black dresses and they're all holding shovels.
Yeah, it's just like it's a match to your cover. I wonder.
So I assume that the 4th person on the cover is Campbell at this point. But shovels. Graves? Someone dead?
I was gonna say that. I was like, does someone die in the second book? Do we find Anna?
This is what I'm saying. I didn't think. I thought I was gonna wait.
Gonna pull Cat from her slump.
I thought I was gonna wait to read the second book, but I don't know. Now I'm thinking after this, I'm gonna be like, let's go to Barnes and Noble, John.
Yeah, I'm gonna reread the first book.
John's gonna be like, no, get your stuff somewhere else.
Oh my god.
Have you read beyond the first book of the Inheritance games?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the first 2.
Okay.
And then I have paperbacks, and I got really excited to see that the 3rd one comes out in paperback next month. So I'm gonna pick that up when it comes out.
Yeah, and then there's the 4th. Chloe and I were talking about.
Right, the Hawthorne something.
The Hawthorne brothers. Yeah.
I might get the Barnes and Noble edition of that. It's purple.
Yeah, it's pretty. Like,
would you guys read the series? Maybe she has a trilogy before this one. Maybe that's what I was thinking about.
I think she has one other series.
She has a series called The Naturals.
Right.
She has another. That one's a trilogy.
Okay, so maybe I was thinking about that.
She has another trilogy called Raised by Wolves. Wait, no. The Naturals has 4 books. 4 books. She has actually a bunch of series that I never heard of. Raised by Wolves, she has a series called The Fixer, which looks like there's only 2 books. She has another series called The Tattoo, which is just 2 books as well. Another one called The Squad, that's 2 books too. A couple of standalones. Okay.
Is there anything else we want to talk about with this book? Desiree, if you're saying something, you're muted.
Why do you think Walker was trying to mistletoe kiss Sawyer?
What was he not like under the influence of
Possibly. I
something?
don't know if he was just, continuing his path of self-destructive mode. But like again, his stepmother obviously thinks that that's her brother because she was like, "No, the two of you is just wrong."
I honestly think that moment he was just drunk, but I'm not sure because that family's messed up anyway. So.
Oh my god. I need to read a whole nother book, but I think I'm going to end up reading this one.
A whole nother book for what?
For my IRL book club on Tuesday.
Girl, focus on that first. Then you can pick the second one up.
Oh my god, but you're going to forget. I'm going to forget all these names.
I know. You're going to end up being me, where you have to reread the whole series.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Who's got that kind of time? Well, I will say that even though this was YA, man, that was a lot of drama. Like, but like really serious drama. Like those are some hardcore things to happen. Like you're talking about a hit and run, a drunk hit and run, and then like framing other people. What was the deal with the pearls? Like,
obviously it was a cataclysm for everything.
Well, I just thought the pearls were like family heirlooms and everybody cared about who wore the pearls. And
I'm also concerned about those pearls because they're claiming they were stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And then Granddaddy Ames went to Lillian's house and was like, "Oh, the insurance people want proof of how much they cost, blah 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 blah." And she was like, she gave him paperwork and she said, "Don't lose this. These are the originals," or something like that. So I feel like there's probably something that's going to happen with that too. Like, so now we're in a. There's so much. The whole family is so scandalous. So there's going to be like fraud on top of everything else. Well, I still give this 4 stars. I'm glad it didn't annoy me. Because
why?
I'm just reevaluating my relationship with YA. And so I'm glad I was able to read this, and it kept me interested, and I wasn't rolling my eyes at the characters, or obviously it was very high drama.
What? Is this one you already own?
Yeah, because I bought it for the book club.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you already own this, I was like, great, that's another YA that you just took off your TBR. But not if you bought it for the book club.
Yeah, now it's gonna make me add another one because I have to get the second one now.
At least it's only 2 books. That means everything gets answered in the second book, hopefully.
Yep. Anyway, 4 stars.
I rated 3.
Is that it? Okay.
I think so. My final thoughts are just that I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to keep reading it.
If you create a family tree, please send it.
Okay, Desiree's in charge of the family tree. Kat has to reread the first one, and I'm just here. I also gave it just 3 stars. And I was looking in my notebook of book club books. I've given a lot of book clubs books like 3 stars recently. Had 2 rough months. I had a 2.5 and a 3. All right. Well, so for where did I put it? Oh, for next month.
Hopefully this one is better.
Hopefully. We're going to be reading Light Lark by Alex Astor, which is extremely hyped and
a BookTok sensation.
A BookTok sensation. There's a movie deal. They just released the second cover. It's very hyped, and it better be worth my time. And we are going to be talking about this on July 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern on this channel. So make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram for everything related to anything Booktube Chicks. We're also going to be having Pages and Pals on July 14th on Kat's channel, which is linked in the description below. And then if anybody likes romance, Desiree and I will be reading The Rewind by Allison Winscotch for the quarterly romance book club. And our live show for this is August 6th at 6 p.m. Eastern on Desiree's channel, which is also linked in the description below. So thank you so much for joining us for our discussion of Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And hopefully we will see you either at the Light Lark discussion, Pages and Pals, or the Rewind discussion. So make sure you subscribe to these wonderful people, linked down in the description below. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BookTube Chicks, and we will see you all next time. Bye.